Hi everyone, I'm Gaetano, I'm National Education Manager for Jeval, and today I'm going to be talking to you about our latest product, Jeval Deco Plex Lightning Powder. Dust-free and has the ability to lift up to 9 levels, and it's got amazing bond reinforcing technology, which are your oligosaccharides and maize, which are derived from sugarcane and sugar beets that help recognize and bind protein chains during the lightening process. They also help to provide incredible lift action, minimize hair breakage and damage, therefore providing improved hair health and incredible shine. So the way I want to present this product to you today is throughout this create on a mannequin head to show you the different ways that it is applicable to any of your lightning services that you are offering in your salons. We'll do some free hand painting. We'll also do some back comb balayage techniques as well. So that way you can see how it behaves in foiling, in freehanding, and just exactly see what this product can do for you. We will demonstrate Jeval Deco Plex by means of freehand and foiling, and then after that we will do some lovely toning, and throughout all this time we'll go deeper into timing and the do's and the don'ts of the Jeval Deco Plex. So to kick off with, first, once you receive your product, comes in this great storage tub, server, and a sealed bag. So it's just great. Undo the bag, closure, simply turn the bag over your tub, and it's got its permanent home right there at your color bar. Your server goes in, and now whenever you finish using it, you've got a nicely tight sealed tub of product. So next I want to introduce you to my lovely model today. Her name is Amy. And Amy is going to have a combination of freehand painting underneath, and then we're going to do some back comb foiling up on top, and we'll explain the whole timing process throughout and how you can achieve different levels of lift. And then after that, we'll remove the product once we've reached the desired lift, and then create a lovely toner to recreate a lovely blonde color for Amy. So before I start mixing the Decoplex, I do want to mention that because the product is already plexed, it is not a free license to abuse people's hair by pushing and pushing as much as possible with pre-lightening. We still need to look at the condition of the hair and look at how best to maintain the hair's integrity. Being a Plex product, normally on healthier hair, you would have to choose one level of developer stronger. So if you would normally use 20 volt, in these cases now you would use 30 volt. However, it is not recommended that you use the Decoplex on already highly pre-lightened hair. We have other products that can help you lighten. In this case though, if you come across a client, or a client walks into your salon, and even though she's been mildly pre-lightened and she's stuck at that orange, I do suggest that you do not push with your 30 volt, consider the health of the hair, and work with no more than 10 or 20 volt being your 3 or 6%. So we just wanted to make that clear, okay? This is not a product that just because it's a lightning product that has Plex in it, yes, it's going to protect the hair, but we do not want to lose the integrity of the hair by pushing already very strongly pre-lightened hair, and we want to get to that white, so you can, oh yes, use 30 volt because it's got Plex, and before you know it, you've created some damage into the hair. So regardless of the level of lightening the hair already has, we must always respect that the product is still a pre-lightening product, and if you misuse it or abuse the product, then you are creating a strong possibility of losing the integrity of the hair. So please keep mindful and work to always maintain the health of the hair. So in mixing, I always do recommend that you mix on scales. That way you've got a nicely consistent product. And put your bowl on the scales, turn it on. And in this case, because here on a mannequin, normally the hair is already processed. Okay, it starts off dark and then slowly it's lightened. And being mannequin hair, I'm going to work with nothing stronger than 30 volt. I will do a process known as a double process to achieve as much lightness as possible, which is also a great process in achieving the most levels of lift. So we'll start mixing appropriately. Now, whenever I'm mixing pre-lightening products, my suggestion for you is don't look at how much product you're gonna need for the whole head. Work in sections, so that way you've got an even level of lifting action with each batch that you are applying. So if I mix too much, number one, the bowl is small, it needs to oxidize, it's gonna spread, and that's how you get swelling, right? We don't want to create that because the product doesn't do that. But we as hairdressers actually create that possibility for a product by trying to mix too much at the one time. So mix no more than 20 grams of powder, okay? And that's going to keep you nicely consistent throughout your whole application. So with your server, just apply, okay? And I just want to get to nice 20 grams in here. There we go. Close it back up. And we're going to grab the Jeval Oxy 30 volt and mix this 1 to 2 as it is recommended to be. Okay, so 1 to 2 is going to be 40 grams of developer. There we go. And then mix it till it becomes a nice creamy consistency. You know, what happens, questions that I'm already being asked, what happens if I mix 1 to 1.5? Do I have to mix 1 to 2? Is it gonna be runny? Is it gonna be this? Is it gonna be that? It is highly suggested that you keep this mix at 1 to 2. Mixing it to 1 to 1.5 is always going to make the product stronger, and something you want to avoid because you're already using a higher developer. So do please mix at 1 to 1.5. The consistency is good. All powders firstly mixed look a bit smoother and runnier, but if you let them settle for about 1 minute to 2, that will thicken up, okay? So there's our initial first mix, which is a beautiful, nice, creamy consistency. And that's how you should judge a nice mix. Is it running off the brush or is it just gently falling? And in this case, yeah, it's taken a while to stop. So it's already thickening up. And that's what I mean. Like once you let it settle, a 1 to 2 mix should not be runny for you. If you're freehanding, then you're never sure whether you've mixed 1 to 2 exact, 1 to 2 plus, or 1 and less than 2. So your consistency could be all over the place. So we do highly recommend that you weigh your product to have consistency throughout your mixing and application. Okay, so we've just sectioned off Amy and preparing her to start applying the Deco Plex. And I'm just going to be freehand painting now. Mainly mix 2 ends, and we'll take it slightly higher as we move further up the head. Just going to get some wraps here to help separate the hair. And this will be the initial first application. Like so. So my sections aren't too wide. You've got to give enough space for that product to work through the hair. Now, The Deco Plex is not designed for on-scalp lightning. And because we're using the higher level of developer, we don't want to put too strong a lightening product on the scalp. So with Jeval, what you can do is continue using your ammonia-free Deco Cream lightener on the roots. And obviously, if you need your Plex product, then you would use your Deco Plex product for mids to ends. So if I was doing a full scalp lightening, I would first start away from the roots with the Deco Plex dust-free lightener. And then when it was time to start lightening the roots, I would use the ammonia-free Deco Cream lightener up on the scalp area to keep the scalp nicely conditioned, but allow the Deco Plex to keep the hair away from the scalp in its best optimum condition throughout the lightening process. So as we move a little further up the hair, you may want to start splitting this section into two rather than doing one wide section, like so. And again, just maintaining the lightening mids to ends. Work in a nice V section as if you're drawing a V. And allow that product to penetrate through the hair and start your lightening process. So, how long do we process for? If we are wanting 5 to 6 levels of lift in a normal room temperature of about 20 degrees, we will process for up to 45 minutes. If you're wanting up to 8 levels of lift in room temperature room, then you would be looking at 90 minutes of process. If we are wanting up to 9 levels of lift, we can use a mild heat of about 37 to 39 degrees Celsius. So it's not too strong a heat, and that's going to also be a 90-minute process. So we'll just continue having a bit of fun with hand painting here. And get these mids to ends nice and light for a lovely blonde tone to be performed after the lightening process is complete. Now, when it comes to, balayaging and these freehand techniques of color, if you didn't want so much lightening underneath, you simply just weave a section out and minimize how much hair you want to lighten. But since we're talking about lightening here, let's get as light as possible. Let's create a stunning blonde and, give this product the showcase it deserves. So slowly, 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 because I'm going to be foiling up the top even closer, I'm just going to start feathering slightly higher. So we start gently and softly bringing lightness further up the hair. But still in the length, the focus is mids to ends, and that's where we want to lighten more. So these heat traps are nice and light, not creating too much weight on the client's head. And then as I get into the foiling, I will start transitioning from the heat traps to foil as well. So moving further up. Still going to work in two sections here. I'm going to turn Amy a little further around so you can see what I'm doing on this side as well. Now, how you choose to do your freehand is all up to your own creative style. You know, there isn't only one way. All these techniques are there for you to make your own. So find and adapt them to how they work best for you. And main thing is that when you're working with such products, you maintain using them to manufacturer's instructions and not steer away from that and create your own instructions, because that's where you're going to get yourself into possible strife. So keeping it 1 to 2, as I mentioned, is the safest way to work with the new Deco Plex. Or mixing it less than 1 to 2.5 is only going to make it stronger, plus a stronger developer, and not recommended at all due to the damage you could cause. And if you do that, you're kind of removing the whole benefits of the product as well, okay? So this is the last section I'm going to do back here with freehand, and then I'll start getting into some foiling further on, and slowly I'll start leaving some hair in between as well to go a little bit softer. And so we'll have a more heavier lightning underneath and a much more softer lightning throughout the top. There we go, nice and simple. Keep the work nice and clean. Okay, so that's the end of the hand painting down here. Now we're going to get into some foiling. Just prepare my pop-up foil. It's like having an assistant in a box for me here, which is great. Now, this is where I tend to just weave at the very roots, just to start creating a softer blending up here. But I'm going to change from a talcum into my styling brush, because these have a really nice soft backcombing effect. And then I'm just going to also freehand just below that backcombing area, get my foil, and that will help sit the hair on the foil, and just feather that into the top and saturate my mix to ends. Like so. Now we don't want to be doing very heavy tight packing here, so it's just creating space for yourself to work, like so. Okay. You can still do all your weaving with this brush, straight across. Clip the rest of the hair away, create yourself a nice space to work. If you find that section's too wide, just split it in the center. You can either take the hair from underneath or take it from the top. Saturate those ends, feather the top for a nice softer effect and blend. And again, just fold to below your back combing. Turn the dolly around a little bit. Just want to get that cornered off there. So push all the hair that you don't want to foil away. Just going to hold that down there a second. My foil slipped in the box. There we go. So I have prepared another bowl of products with the Deco Plex. I've got the powder in, I've got the developer pin, but I have not mixed it together yet, so it doesn't start oxidizing. And that's how I save time and not having to stop for too long between one mix and another. So your processing time can be as equal as possible. I mean, you could leave these unfolded if you wanted to. I think we fold more out of habit than anything. Okay, so I'll bring the next bowl over and mix that in. And then once we've done this, we'll let it process. But I do want to show you as well, if I wanted to, for example, be lightening extremely light, then I want to show you what we mean by a double application and the process of doing so as well. So that's nicely mixed. Just put that hair back down there, make it nice and neat. So by zigzagging through the roots, it gives you automatically a weaved effect, as you can see, that nice zigzagging pattern. I'm still going to split this section in two. I don't like to work in such a wide area. Just going to remove some of the hair at the base to minimize the thickness of the actual foil. There you go. Just feathering in, and I will do exactly the same here, and obviously you'll be able to see that a lot clearer. Saves having to keep turning the mannequin around every second. So, here's our section. Back combing from underneath, and then just pushing that hair away from the top, leaving me with the hair on to lighten. Now, what you can also do to help the hair stay on your foil straight away, you can put some product on your foil like so, so that way the foil don't slip. Feather at the top minimizes strong lines. And when you put your smudge color up there, it's going to give you a nicer blend because there's no heavy lines. And then as you come down into the bulk of the hair, you saturate to create your lightness at the ends, like so. And we'll just hold that up. Gently close that in, just so it doesn't slip off, okay? Allowing the hair to continue breathing in there. Okay, we don't want to create an oven, we just want to close that foil in. Just cleaning away some of that hair. There's the back combed area underneath, and again, we'll just apply a bit of product to the foil. That will stop the hair from slipping and allow us to work. That's quite a quick process. So obviously my intention is to have slightly less lightening at the top and more lightening mids to ends. So we can see the graduation of color going from darker to lighter as an end result after we tone. Now it is a blue powder, so when you do check, keep in mind sometimes what we see when we lighten with blue is not always what you get if you rinse it off too soon. So just keep that in mind, check and check again, continue checking throughout the process. And my best tip with blue lightness is when you think you've arrived, just leave that on for that extra 5 to 10 minutes to ensure that it is at the right level that you desire. Sometimes blue can deflect off the foil and give you a wrong, incorrect reading, and that's why we suggest that you just practice that little tip. Okay. So up here, this will create more of a drop foil effect. And what we mean by drop foil, obviously, that they've dropped away from the root area and they start coming further down from the roots. Okay, so it's not like traditional foiling where we try and get the foils as close to the scalp as possible. They're more dropped, and backcombing also helps to do that for you because we can't get too close to the scalp anyway due to the backcombed area. So that's just going to help my hair to stay on the foil. Like so. And we are just going to push some of that product further up the hair shaft, colouring finely the hair closer in a feathered manner. There goes the brush. There you go. So I'm going to come around to the side now. Come back to my comb because I want to do some back combing again in the bottom sections, and then I'll show you another way. Actually, I'll section that off now. I want to show you another way how you can do drop foils up on top by adapting this sectioning technique. So here again, we just want to be colouring further down the hair, not too close and not too high. And we're going to take this on a slight angle, coming inwards. So it's mainly just the front area. And slowly, and colouring internally in the section in a diagonal section. Diagonal manner. You can see how it is stronger at the front and then coming on a decline diagonal area internally. Now I wanted to switch back to my heat wrap there. That's okay, we'll just do that. How's that? Okay. And again, this is going to start making part of the money piece. So we just want to get that nice and soft. When we flick, we're also creating something similar to a back combing, but obviously not as heavy as the back combing. Get a wrap to sit this on. Go over that area to make sure we have enough product on the hair. Like so. Now, as you can see here, if we come around, we've started the back combing from this level. So it is always better to continue that flow so you have the same mood of colouring throughout the whole hair. So I'm just going to gently back comb from underneath and just clean some of the hair from top that we've back combed. Go back to our foil. And continue the same colouring process as before, always slightly higher at the sides and working back in a diagonal internally. Like so. And we'll grab the next section. That can go into that one. It's just nicely cleaned away. Product on the foil. That keeps the foil in place. And we'll just push some of that product gently up towards the top area of the foil. Come down and saturate the midst two ends. So a flat brush to spread the colour and then feathering to soften your application, reducing any heavy lines. And that combination of flat and feather works even if you're doing traditional foiling, so you don't end up with a lot of product at the top, preventing bleeding, and easier to tone afterwards because you don't have very heavy lines and dots up there. So we're going to leave that section entwined with that on top and come around to the side. We'll section this off to blend in with the other side, like so. Put that all in one section and start coloring the underneath. So we're going to go back to a wrap here. Get some more out ready. There you go. Shake them, that airs them in between, makes it much easier to separate after I've applied the colour. Now on this side, we are going to work in the opposite direction, like so. So remove the excess product and then just push that colour up gently on a diagonal line. Come down to the bottom and saturate those mids to ends. Like so, put your wrap in there so it can support all your colour at the ends. And that now will stick to the top one when you put that on. Like so. Just nice and faint and heavier, making sure the product's gone straight through the hair at your mids to ends. So we are working here 1 to 2 Deco Plex and 30 volume Oxy developer. All measured on scale. And we are looking to work in a 90 plus 20 minute double application process, which I will go through as the processing time proceeds. In the meantime, we are combining freehand painting and backcomb foiling to create our foundation of the blonde in the lift. So it will be more heavily coloured underneath the crown and slowly moving into a softer, more foiled effect going towards the top. Therefore, maintenance will be minimal. And we'll highlight obviously around the face and that complete perimeter hairline from front to back. So this we will drop into the next section as well. And here I'm going to backcomb to blend in with the rest of the hair as well. I'll just prepare my foil as such. Just pushing the hair I don't need away. Cleaning from the top also. Allowing that nice soft amount of colour that I need to colour in the centre. I'll prepare my foil. Like so. Gently feathering up the top. And applying heavier Mids to ends, making sure all that hair is in. And after this section, we'll start creating some nice soft drop foils from the top over the rest of the hair. So that you now fold. Okay, so now we're going to start working from the top section, creating that drop foil. So what I mean by a drop foil is, imagine when you have the hair parted in the center, for example, traditional foiling, you'd have your foils working directly from the scalp. With a drop foil, we will have a shaded and balanced foil, but starting more further down to hair due to the back combing that we've pushed up, allowing us not to get too close to the root area. And so very much the same technique as the back combing we did from the crown up and halfway up the sides up. And again, I will do that nice zigzag at the front. This is the money piece, so I want to work more freehand here with a very, very gentle back comb. If you move too much of this hair away, then you will not have a strong coloured area in the front. You can see just by colouring that little bit of colour on the foil, how steady the hair sits on that foil. Put the maximum of your product where you want it to be, which is halfway down. Minimize the amount of colour you have on the brush and start flicking and spreading that colour upwards, like so. Keeping you away from the root area. But making sure you have enough product in there to lighten, slightly stronger than the other foiled area up at this level of the foil. Like so. So I'm just going to fold it over. Like so. And bring down our next piece. And as we move further down the back, we obviously get slightly heavier with the back combing to blend in with the crown area. But here at the front, we still want to maintain some thickness to the piece of hair we're about to lighten. Again, I will just place some product on my foil. That's going to keep the foil in place. Halfway down, I'll put some colour in that I'm then able to spread up the hair, like so. Nice and softly. Saturating then my very ends. And that's going to blend in to the side of your hairline. And it's just a repetitive action throughout the whole top area. Now, the beauty of having a Ready Plex product on your color bar is, from a business point of view, it saves you having to buy a whole Plex system and therefore creating more profit. My foil's stuck again here, and as they near to the very end, they get a little bit tricky, especially with gloves on, but that's okay. So yeah, and because it's plexed already, I don't need to buy a Plex system. And I will show you at the very end what is the best treatment and products to complement this product as well, and with the Jeval hair care line of products to maintain optimum condition of the hair as well. So we've got it all covered. To ensure that you have all the right tools in place to be working with such a lovely product. So we're just slowly increasing the level of back combing as we go further back, keeping us slightly further away from the roots to blend in with the back area. As such. So what I'm going to do is just lower Amy down a little bit so we can see what's happening on top as well. Just going to push some of this hair down, like so. Get it out of the way, creating a nice clean area to colour. Again, removing from the top. So we want it to still look very soft and natural up on top and not overly blonde. We want to keep the blonde area as far away from the roots as possible to minimise maintenance. Now, if you wanted more colour on top, you'd obviously do less back combing or no back combing at all and feather your foils maybe not right up to the scalp. So you can lighten a little further up. There is no right or wrong. It's exactly how you discuss with your client in the consultation in achieving and creating the result that she desires. So don't think for a minute that, you know, your technique or your result has to be like everyone else's on social media, for example. And, you know, you need to own what you do and create individually for every client. Because if everyone created the same thing, then it would be a very boring industry, right? So take these techniques and make them your own. Design with them. That's why for me, you know, balayage, backcomb, they're not results for me. They are techniques. The result is how you want the result to be at the end. So now as we're going further back, we want to minimize the amount of hair in the foil. So we're almost done here. The first process is going to take, you know, roughly around 90 minutes from the top, keeping in mind already that the back has been processing for half an hour. So we will start working on the underneath section a little earlier than the top and continue this process going to be all up 110 minutes. So if I was, for example, working with removing artificial color, and it's the double process technique I want to be using, and again, I would be working, depending on the health of the hair, with 30 or 40 volt, and also depending on how dark the artificial color that I want to remove. So anything below 4 natural, for example, and or with very, very strong violet or red pigment, I'd most probably work 30 to 40. Anything above a level 6, depending on the health of the hair and what's underneath the hair as far as history is concerned. And you may just want to keep it at 20 volt and rather than 30. Always, 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 it's about the health. You know, fine, I'm going to have a great color at the end, but what type of hair condition am I going to have at the end? That should be the main question you ask yourself when it comes to how you're going to work with this product. So it's not about pushing it to the max. It's about allowing such a beautiful product to help you protect the hair in getting very, very close to achieving your desired results. And that's the attitude and thinking you need to have around such a product, okay? And I've seen too many times where people, oh, I got a Plex, don't worry, boom, pack it in and let's go for it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the hair broke. It shouldn't have broke because it's got a Plex. A very negative way to think around having a Plex in a product, okay? So here's the thing, and it's a very easy thought pattern. When you come across a head of hair, would you use 30 volt? Would you use 20 volt? You know, would you even consider 40 volt on this hair? If your answer is no, then don't use what you're thinking, okay? If the answer is, look, the hair is virgin, the hair is healthy, and it's only going to be on for a certain amount of time, I just want to give an impact, remove it, and then work with something slower, that is another more positive approach, okay? So if I, for example, have level 1 to remove from the hair, and I have no pre-lightening history underneath that hair, I'm just going to turn Amy back, and just at this very crown area, I'm going to work from behind again. And while I finish this up, I'm just going to continue this explanation. So I've got artificial level 1, and you know, whether it's a box color or, you know, an improfessional, like a supermarket product or a salon product at the moment is irrelevant. So I just want to talk about levels of developer per se. So if the hair is healthy and there's no history of pre-lightening in that hair, then my initial mix is going to be 40 volume with the Plex. If I try to use anything lighter, it may not have the best impact. And being a Plex pre-lightener, it may work too slow with a lower level of developer. So in that case, I would use 40, but minimize the time that it's going to be on the hair. So if I find the 40 volt is allowing that black to break through easily, then once I get to a level 7 orange, I will start removing that product so the 40 will stop working on that hair. I will take it to the next level then, dropping all the way down to 20 volume and maintain integrity in the hair. So this is what we're meaning about double processes. And, on virgin hair, you could go 40 and 30, but, there's no history there. So you're going to be okay with that. But wherever I find there is some form of chemical history, then we need to be very precautious in how we are going to maintain the integrity of the hair. So this is the last section at the crown. So I just want to turn Amy around so you can see that. Again, I've just put some product on the foil and I'm going to put maximum product midst to ends. Just dip the tips of the brush into the bowl and spread that in a feathering effect up the hair shaft, like so. So minimizing the amount of product I have on the brush so I don't have heavy lines working closer to the root area, up to where the back combing is. I'm just going to push that down and make sure that I have enough color saturation midst to ends. And that will conclude this very last section. Don't want you, thank you. Just that. Fold that over. Okay, so we'll leave that there and come back and start checking and having a look at what's happening. Okay, so fast forward 90 minutes. Now we want to start doing the double process to continue the lifting from where we started before. So I'm just going to remove my initial wraps. I'm just going to scrape colour off and just wipe on a towel and reapply. So I've mixed a fresh batch with 20 vol now. I've dropped it one level down and I'm just going to quickly reapply that and continue the lifting process. Just mainly on the hair that I've already previously coloured. So already, as you saw, it's taken it nicely. And let's keep something in mind here. Working on a mannequin, you are not working on 100% virgin hair, right? And this hair has been heavily processed already. And so this is like removing artificial colour. So the level 5 that we have here is actually an artificial colour 5 and not a true virgin level 5. So again, I'm just going to remove my wraps. Nice strong hair. And just to say, that was 30 vol, and that's already brought us into a lovely blonde zone. Okay, we're already up to a level 8 there. Just going to put my wrap back on reapply underneath. And this second session will then get us to that paler, level 9, and if we're blessed, we can get to a level 10 and create a stunning blonde. So, as we know, most blondes live on level 9 and 10, and that's always where we want to get to. So this technique will help us get there. Scrape off. And, for mannequin hair, this is great. So if it's protecting mannequin hair as such like this, and it is 100% human hair, but just to give you a little rundown of the process mannequin hair goes through, it normally starts level 1 or level 2. It goes through a heavy sanitization process with hydrogen peroxide. Then it is lifted to get to the different levels of color, and then it's a natural color, and either a 4 or a 5 before it gets to us. And then again, it is heavily treated with silicons and so forth to make the hair feel good. So, and some areas is packed with hair, some areas has less hair, and it can be challenging, but it's great for us to be able to demonstrate and educate on. And also, it goes to show how good a product is as well when you can maintain such healthy hair on a mannequin. So just going through this section, and you've got to try and work as quick as possible. This has all been done on natural heat, okay? There's no air conditioning on in this room whatsoever. So it is all done naturally with no heat whatsoever. I think the best way to show you a great result from a product, I want to show you the product in its completeness naturally without any tricks. So when you do this second part, really it's not an invitation to start having a good old conversation with your client. You need to get this second color on as quick as possible to continue the process working. And this is what I'm loving about the wraps. There's no folding. I can just open them up, reuse them. And they'll continue working for me as well. There you go. Just recoat the same hair as much as possible and let that continuation process occur. So you're not having them tightly packed. Things are more flexible to move around and have pinned away. And I'll show you how this technique can also work when you've got hair in foil as well. So it's not just for freestanding colour that this works on. Scrape, remove old product so it doesn't dilute the fresh product. Reapply. You know, if the hair twists around for you like it did there, don't go painting the fresh hair, because when that's all removed, then you'll end up with a quite heavy streaky look. Only try and get that colour on to where you've previously coloured. Hair moves around, so just be mindful of that. Also, this is also a great way to just check if the product is not drying out on you. Because if a product dries out on you, then obviously it has stopped lifting as well. So there's no having to rewash and dry and so forth. You just continue working on the same section of hair as previously by just simply removing your wraps, scraping off the product and reapplying with a fresh batch. Oops. Helps if you keep the wrap underneath the hair. Real human, real situation. Things can fall, fancy that. Okay. Now, because we worked through the foils before we did the sides, let's have a look at how the foils are going. And as I mentioned, you can do the same thing in a foil. So if you've got half a head of foils and you know they haven't started coming up as much as you'd like, then just open them up and reapply some product. And that will help get you to the next level. As we mentioned, yeah, we don't want these extremely light. I'm going to leave them slightly open now. So I know I've done those. There you go, it's lifting up nicely in the foil, very even as well. So leaving the foil open indicates that I've done them. And that's going to help the process continue for me. Notice how I'm not taking the foil straight up. Okay, I don't mind them being that warm up there, because when I smudge the root color on, then I don't have to be concerned about the color going too flat if I'm going to use such a cool toning color. So that's okay for that to remain like that for me. It's good enough, light enough to be toned with a level 7 now, so I'm not concerned. Right, so the target is to have a 7 up top, root smudged into a level 9 or a level 10 tone. I wanted to try and create something very standard that you would have come into your salon, most commercial, because if you understand it this way, then it'll be easier to take it to other areas of colouring. Once we get comfortable with working with this product, we can start taking it to different levels in different sessions, which I have in mind to do already anyway. So let's just get the initial understanding of Deco Plex in place. We'll get that settled, and then we'll start having more fun with colouring, as we always do in our classes. And we've done that as well. So just keeping this product wet here will continue its lifting. So it's important to make sure you have enough product in your foil as well, or in your wrap. Okay, so we'll come around to the side, remove these, scrape off. Get that product in the ends there, around the hairline. I want that nice and light. And then I'm just going to flick it through the rest. And we'll cover that back up, like so. Just want to remove the excess product from my hand. I'm just beginning to run out of product here. I just have to mix a little bit more. So this is how simple the double process is. Okay, just open up, reapply, and allow the product to continue working. That's the one we did from the back, so I'll get, that's already done anyway, it's open. Okay, now we're back to the front. So, just want to show you something. When you see a product caking up like that a little bit, that's not swelling, okay? That's the product drying out, and it's hasn't been able to penetrate into the hair, or we haven't pushed it into the hair. So reapplying that will allow that product to re-wet itself, and it'll open the cuticle up better for you and get doing its work a lot better. Okay, so don't think that it's swelled. Swelling is a different aspect in foiling when they puff up and start to steam and everything. That, you know, that is a completely different scenario, and it's more than likely that the hair had a strong coating of silicone in there, and that's not allowing the product to break through. So in your consultation, you should always, always, always discuss with your client when the last time she had washed her hair and what product she's using at home. So that way you can see if the hair has been recently conditioned or there's heavy silicones that are resting in that hair, even though the manufacturing instructions say do not wash hair before. And, you know, if you are concerned that there is a strong silicone buildup in the hair, then, you know, it would be advisable then to do a clarification, or, you know, either a charcoal detox on that hair to help remove the buildup, for the simple reason is you don't want to risk 30 or 40 volt, you know, expanding in your foil. Just don't scrub the scalp, and this is why we say, you know, a lot, we shouldn't wash hair before and any chemical service due to overstimulating the scalp. But this product is not going on the scalp. We are not conditioning and so forth. We just want to quickly remove, you know, a layer of buildup of, you know, silicones or other nasties from the hair to be able to allow our product to work at its best And it's exactly how I prepped this mannequin this morning, because knowing the process that they go through before they end up in a box and come to us. I just want to lighten this front piece a little bit more, and we're almost there. So it's doing a very, very quick job. Very impressive when it comes to the lift and the timing, especially on artificial color, such as this on a level 4. So there you have it. Okay, so we'll just continue till this processes. We'll check it in about 10 minutes time and see how it's going, especially the back area. And then from there, we'll remove it and then recolor the hair. Righto, so it's time now to start removing all the foils and the wraps before we go and rinse it off. So I just want to show you doing that so you can see how it's lightened up. I think for mannequin hair, this has done an incredible job to bring it up so clean. So we'll just start sliding these off. Put them straight in a bag here. Beautiful lift. Hair's nice and strong, just exactly how you want the hair to be. Nice creamy lift. So this is removing artificial color, which mannequin hair is. Great. So to be able to do that in one sitting from a level 4 artificial on clients and maintaining such great hair length is a great tool to have in your salon, correct? Okay, so I just want to swing all this hair back so it doesn't fall into Amy's face. Correct thing to do. Now, when I go and wash this off, I'm going to do one light shampoo with Clean Slates shampoo, Jeval Clean Slate, and that's just going to remove any oxidization and residue of pre-lightening products from the hair. So it will prepare for a good foundation to tone. And we can make Amy look a lot better than she does at the moment. So see you shortly after we rinse off the Deco Plex lightening powder from Amy. So I just want to show you as it's drying. All I have on here, lighting, just in case you're wondering, is natural light coming in from the studio window here and just the normal lights. I do not have the studio light on, and you can see how nice and light this lift is. Ready for toning. So this has removed artificial level 4 and has brought us to that level 9, 10, ascending from 9 to 10 at the ends in one sitting. And the hair feels great. And that's with 30 volt. So I've just finished drying this off, then we'll give a nice tone and finish Amy off with a nice finishing style. Really, really great lift. On a real human, I would have even contemplated doing 40 volt first session and then dropping down to 30 volt. But with mannequin hair, it is so gently pushed into the scalp and everything. And yeah, with mannequin hair, you just don't push it as much as you would with real human hair. And even though, you know, it doesn't appear to be any color history in mannequin hair, you've got to understand that it has been pre-processed. So to me, it would be the same as working on someone's hair that has had some form of stronger chemical process compared to just the tints. Okay, so always keep that in mind. So that's completely dry. I have turned on the studio light, but in all honesty, there's hardly any difference. You know, it hasn't made it look any whiter or anything. It's still the same result. And hair is still beautiful, soft. See what we mean by the drop falls? They're not directly at the roots. They're just nice and soft dropping down. So when we now tone this, we will accentuate the different areas of the hair and create a stunning blonde for our model, Amy. So we've dried the hair up, we're ready for the toning process. I've mixed 2 formulas, one formula for the roots and one formula for the mids to ends. The root formula is 20 grams of 7.1, and I'll show you these on the chart as we go. So, excuse me, Amy, we'll just step in front of you there. So, 20 grams of your 7.1, 10 grams of your Fashion Violet 723 to give me a more pearl effect, with half a gram of 622 to minimize any possible warmth coming from the heat band. Now, I don't want a violet result, but it will give me a dusty dark blonde, which is going to be stunning as we clean out the rest of the hair in a lighter blonde as well. Now, for the second formula, we've used 20 grams of the Clear Plus and 10 grams each of 9.1 ash, and we've added 10 grams of 9.2 violet and 10 grams of 10-8 beige violets. So that's 20 grams of clear plus 10 grams of 9-1, 10 grams of 9-2, 10 grams of 10-8, giving me 50 grams of color. And I've also mixed that 1 to 1.5 with 10 vol, making it 75 grams. So in the roots color, because I haven't disturbed that with pre-lightning much, and the porosity is still good, I won't be adding any porosity equalizer into my color or to the hair. However, for the ends of the hair, mids to ends, I will add marshmallow, which is a leave-in treatment, but also we can add it to color to equalize the porosity as we're coloring, giving us a more even color result, and also making the color amount slightly larger and much more easier to apply and therefore penetrate into the hair. So a couple of marshmallow sizes, 1, 2, like so, and I will mix that directly into the color. And just let that sit as I do the application on the regrowth or the roots as such. So that will stay there. I've got my first formula here. So the first formula is very simple. We simply go straight through as if we're doing a standard regrowth application or roots application. I do like to work from the nape up, as I'm going to show you here. And so that way, when I come to do the next color, all the hair will be sitting in its natural fall and not building up at the crown with a lot of overlapping occurring. So you've got to try and keep this color working uniformly as possible and without ends and so forth getting all contaminated by the previous color. So we don't want to go too deep here, maybe a little more underneath where you've got less blonde pre-lightened hair at the roots, whereas up on top we slightly have the foils coming up higher. So go to the depth of where you've got your natural underneath and start minimizing at the roots area as you're coming towards the top. So we are not over coloring the pre-lightened area with too long a time with the darker color. Especially around the front where you've got your money piece. You want to keep that as light as possible in that area. Okay, so you can split this ear to ear if you like, or you can manage it all in your hand. It's really up to you. So work clean around the hairline. And not taking too radically big a section. Bring that color down. We can always apply a little more as we're smudging a little later on, so we don't have to worry about that. Or be concerned about should I be overlapping at this moment or not. Just simply get the color onto the areas where it hasn't been pre-lightened for now, because we can always work it into the next color when we get to that moment. Now, when I'm working on actual, a true head of hair where there's body heat and everything, if I'm working per se on a level 6 and my regrowth is very narrow, I would contemplate working with a semi-mix instead of 10 vol, So that way I do not force too much of the natural hair to lift. If I'm coloring in between foils, then I would just feather, or if I'm doing a shadow, well, with a shadow, I don't need to be concerned because normally a shadow is a darker color than the rest of the hair. But if you're toning roots to ends and you want to minimize the possible lift of your natural color on top, then, you know, pre-mix your toning formula so it sits and you allow a lot of the ammonia to dissipate. And rather than saturating heavily on the heat bend area, just feather lightly your toner in, and that will help to, you know, completely not lift or minimize saturating the hair, forcing the heat from the scalp to overactivate your color at the roots. So I'll just continue getting this color on. We'll get to the other side now. So we're just going to separate this section. As I mentioned before, you can clip it away, or you can, you know, each to their own. If you can manage to work with all the hair, that's fine. But for the sake of the exercise today, I just want to separate as much of the hair as possible. So to show you each and every step of the way, just turn this mannequin around a little bit more in full view. It's really exciting to see such a product in the Jeval coloring family and series, and you know, it really does complete the lightening aspect of Jeval, where, you know, we've got a great collection of powders now to suit all hair needs. So, you know, just to quickly go through them as we're coloring, and you know, for lighter levels of hair where you don't need to push so hard in getting the right lift of color, you've got your ammonia-free powder, also mixed 1 to 2. On the scalp, you have an ammonia-free Deco Cream Lightener, which is very soft and gentle, and to give you, you know, up to your 6 levels on the scalp as well. And like I did a double process on here, you could also do the same type of process on the roots with that, especially when you are working on much darker hair. And now, new to Jeval, we've got the Deco Plex dust-free lightening powder with bond reinforcing technology. And this is great now when we are having to remove, you know, artificial color. We want to protect the hair along the way and still manage to get to our levels of lift that we require in, you know, possibly that one sitting like we did today. So, you know, it's just made being with Jeval even more exciting. because the color is so nourishing, we don't really need a Plex in the color. But having the Plex now in the pre-lightening product, and we know we've taken, you know, care of the hair as much as possible in the pre-lightening process, and makes even, or creates, I should say, much more confidence in your final result as well, in the hair being beautifully nourished along the way. So just turning Amy to the side now. And I'm just gently feathering this color into the hairline, so not to oversaturate the hair. And I'll do the same underneath and from behind as well, where I've actually got more of the natural color because we were working on a diagonal when we were pre-lightening. Now, one thing I want to discuss with you is, because you're not actually promoting a Plex in your salon where you would normally charge so much to add to your lightening products, keep in mind now, with this product, to put that charge on top of your regular lightening price for your service, okay? Otherwise, you're going to be using a much more costly product and not making it profitable for you. So just keep that in mind, because it will be completely overlooked, I'm sure. So it is still a product to recommend even to your clients. But they'd be silly to say no, because the hair's going to feel so much better afterwards. And then after the tone is finished and I'm beginning to style, I will show you how to complement this wonderful product for home and to maintain the lovely condition of the hair that we've created throughout the colouring service. I haven't mastered working back to front yet, but I want you to see as much as possible of the process as we're colouring. Okay, so that's the root area done. I want to wipe my hands so I don't contaminate that colour with the ends colour. And I'm going to separate the sides again. Not necessarily in a clip though, because the color will keep that color away for me. The color itself is a good clip, but I will be needing a clip when I'll just accidentally pull that tail out of that. Now, when I clip these sections away, I don't clip directly at the roots. I don't want to contaminate those colors with the ends color on that side. So I take my clip further down, just in case you're wondering how to do that. And it can get a bit tricky when you've got a few colors all happening at once. There you go. Now, we still have a bit of color here from the roots area. So just going to smudge that down like so, and then get our ends color. Now we don't want to be overlapping too much into the darker color. With the lighter color, it does have clear plus in it. So, and it is with 10 volt. We don't want to lighten the darker color and end up with a warm result over there. So after bringing that color nice into the hair, you may just want to get a little bit of the dark and just gently overlap those very ends like so. Okay, so that way the clear plus won't be lifting that color off for you. So I'll take another section here and we'll do exactly the same process from the other side as well. So we'll see where we've got and need some of the darker color down to there. We're going to smudge that in with our thumbs. Like so. And then color the rest with the lighter color. Like so. And we'll just continue doing this process till we have all the hair covered. So I'm going to come up this side because it's now getting a bit too wide to continue a one section process there. I turn it over there to give me something more solid to apply this color on. So I feather that into the top layer of the lightness, where it's going to blend nicer for me. And then just below that, I apply my lighter tone. So just continue that going. Make sure you put enough color both on the regrowth area and your blonde tone, and let them do what they need to do, and that's color and tone. Keep a towel near you so that way you're not putting too much of the root color towards the end there. And just feather and smudge. You can use DI blend brush, but I wanted to show you how to do this manually for a change as well, so that way you can learn the technique. When we use a lot of tools, it's okay to make life easier. I've got no issue with that, but I also like you to know exactly how you work with your own hands as well, because if that tool ever breaks down for you or it's misplaced and you depend too much on that tool, then you'll be at a loss on how to create manually. So it's always good to learn all techniques freehand first before we depend a lot on tools, whether it be blow drying, colouring, and so forth. Hope you agree. We need to keep our skills of hairdressing alive and not completely depend on everything that is, either plugged in or giving us the results that we can achieve when we work manually. Now this is where we've started to come up a little bit closer. So we want to get more of the lighter reflect up here rather than the darker. So all up, this toner needs to stay on the hair for a good 20 minutes after your final application to do its correct job. So I'm not after anything too strong in an ash result here. I am more wanting a softer, creamier result. Just want to smudge that down a little bit there. There you go. Turn this around for you. Now keep in mind, toners that's got clear plus in it plus 10 volt as well are always going to take that little longer to start doing what they are meant to be doing. So be patient with the color. It's not an on and off toner. Okay, it will need its time. Unlike when you use a semi-developer, which is your 5 volt or 1.5%, and compared to your 3% 10 volt, your semi-developer will start depositing instantly. Like so. So just to go over these reflex again. The base formula at the roots, which is the darker formula, is 20 grams of 7.1 and 10 grams of 723 with half a gram of 6.22. If I had 40 grams of color, then I would use a full gram of the 6.22. But I don't want the violet to be taking over this color. I just want to enhance it more than anything. So what's the difference between using a 0.22 color like 622 compared to the O2 concentrate? Half a gram of 6.22 would measure, if you had to use O2, literally just touching the side of the bowl, because the 0.22 is pure reflect. So you'd need to be really, really careful. And that's why I don't go there with the O22 and when I'm wanting to do this kind of colouring, yeah? Just going to feather some of that root colour into there. Make sure you keep spreading that hair open with your thumb to make sure that you've covered all the hair. Otherwise, you'll end up with a patchy result. And when you've cooled down a lot of the warmth in the hair and you leave warmth behind, that warmth tends to stand out a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to go around and colour the other side. Like so. Smudge that down. Wonderful. You can see the ends toner now, after it's been on the hair a while, beginning to do its thing, removing a lot of the warmth, and you can tell that it's doing that by the oxidization that's going on and the color of the pigment that's sitting on top of the hair there. Right, this is the area I want to smudge that color down a little further, like so. Okay, we're gonna have to stop and quickly mix some color, but I won't bore you with that process. Front piece nicely colored with the blonde as well. Don't want it too dark all the way up there. Now, obviously, when you don't, when you need to remix, you don't need the full amount again. So you can either halve it, third it, just keep the proportions as your original mix. So if I'm going to go 10 grams in clear, I'll go 5 grams with every other reflect I put into the mix. Okay, ready for the other side now. So I want to make sure I don't contaminate this hair. So it's just gently sitting there. I need some root color here. Just where that angle was. Just make sure that all this colouring is even. Smudge it down. And it's colour. You can see how fine the very ends, you know, unlike human hair with mannequin hair where you'd have that full volume. If the hair's normally voluminous at the roots, more than likely it's going to be voluminous down to the ends as well, you know, unless someone hasn't had a haircut in 10 years and it's all split and what have you. But here with the mannequin, it's like the bulk of the hair is up top. And then as it disperses, it becomes more and more sparse towards the ends. Luckily, we don't have to deal with that with, you know, real human hair, and have beautiful hair to work with, roots to ends. But who said hair colouring and hairdressing has no challenges, right? We are faced with challenges every day. So best to learn how to overcome them. Okay, so that's the last section. And we shall leave that processing now. This is the time for me normally to, when you've finished applying the colour, to get your Jeval paraben-free wipes and clean around the hairline. So there is, and just get that through. The opening up here. See, challenges. Like so. And best to clean now. If you try and clean later, okay, I've always said this, it's too late because we leave the hair on, we leave the colour on the hair to colour it. So the skin's going to be very well coloured as well. So, you know, get into the practice of removing colour instantly. You can even have them on the trolley. So as you're working, you can clean as you go as well, because some colours will start staining straight away. You know, so if you're doing something dark, always have them on the trolley ready to go, and you can clean as you go. Okie doke. So we're going to let that process. When I come back now, and we're going to be styling and show you the full results. Okay, so when removing the colour, highly recommended that after your shampoo, which in this case I used the Iconic Tonic shampoo, I followed with a very intense break in case of emergency treatment to, you know, just put all the nutrients back into the hair and complement the Plex that's in the Deco Plex powder lightener. So after doing the treatment now, we're ready to start styling, and I'm just going to use Abracadabra as my base blow dry cream. Just want a nice smooth blow dry, bit of wave, bit of movement. I'm gonna work wet to dry. But first I'm just gonna remove some of the water, but not dry it off. Just dry my hands a bit, there we go, and off we go. Mainly the roots I want to dry off a little bit, not so much the ends. They tone down nicely. The mannequin has quite a bit of warmth in it, like a red in its full base. I just wanted to get rid of that warmth, but not go too dark, because I didn't want too strong a contrast from roots to the blonde. Okay, just going to section off and start the blow drying process. Blow drying wet to dry allows you to set the hydrogen bonds and curl the hair as you like, rather than blast drying and then having to work twice as hard to smooth out the hair, or allowing your straighteners to do all that, flattening all the work that you're doing. Abracadabra is going to give you a beautiful shine, roots to ends. Lovely smooth hair. It's going to smooth out your cuticle quite easily. Absolutely beautiful product to blow dry with. Nicely set your curl. Curl at the top of the brush. Gives you the same effect as the straightener would. Pull it off with your hold button. Twist it round the brush like so. And if you want, you can smooth out those ends, make them a bit smoother and straighter rather than curly. And that is the skill of blow drying. Yeah? I think offer this more in your salon, and it's better than just blasting and drying. This is our skill. There is no way a client can do this at home on their own. So you want this kind of beautiful blow dry work. There's only one place to get it. That's in the salon and with you. This is always going to last you much longer than a blast and iron, because you actually are setting the curl into the hair. Dropping down the size in the brush ensures a tighter curl. There you go. Nice, beautiful reflex working in the hair. You can see that shine through the hair. That's abracadabra working with, obviously, you know, the way we've treated the hair all along. But abracadabra gives you a nice crystalline finish where it meshes a beautiful shine complex roots to ends, regardless of the different porosity levels in the hair or health differences in the hair from roots to ends. You're going to get the same shine roots to ends, and that's what makes this product such a beautiful product. And there's not many products on the market that can boast a beautiful crystalline finish in the hair. Gorgeous. So I'm just going to continue this blow dry around, and then I'll finish her off and present you with the full look. Rather than drying to speak over the dryer, I'll finish her off and then I'll come back and recap the whole process for you, just in case you missed something. Just want to give you a good example of the blend, even though it was all done manually. You can still achieve a beautiful blend once you learn how to blend naturally with your thumbs and fingers. So it's good to show all techniques. to think this was an artificial level 4 when we started. I'll show you a section around the front as well. Always pull that brush before you take it out of the head. Gorgeous reflex. So there's been no cutting on this mannequin. It's how it originally came. And so no tricks. And from a level 5, in one sitting, we transformed into a beautiful blonde balayage. Okay, so I'll finish this off and then I'll come back and recap everything for you. Just keep in mind, after you've done a fresh color, especially tone, if you are going to use your irons to just quickly go over your blow dry and completely smooth out that cuticle, do apply some heat protection, in this case, Jeval HPF 230+. Give it a really good shake, a light mist over the hair, and as you're going through each section, that's going to give you protection on every single hair throughout the head. So that way your cuticle is protected and your color is protected, and if the client is seeing you protecting the hair, she is more than likely going to be interested in doing the same at home, and we should be guiding the client to be doing the same as home as well, you know, and on the proper use of products and so forth as well. So we'll just switch that off like so. Okay, so I'm just going to brush this through. I always like to give the hair a slightly more free effect rather than a very curly finish. Just nice and loose, a bit more edgy. And just to finish off, I'm going to get a single drop of Shine, Sealed and Delivered, like so. Work that very well into my hands. Apply to the ends first, because that's where you want most of the product. And that's just going to help control flyaways, give beautiful shine. And there we have Amy's transformation from an artificial level 4 to a beautiful soft blonde on level 9s and 10s. So we first started with Jeval Deco Cream Plus, our new addition to the lightening family. And we did that in freehand painting underneath and foliage on top, both with 1 to 2 30 volt. After the first initial 90 minutes, we started reapplying, removing old product and then reapplying a fresh batch with 20 volt. And just to continue that lifting process, opened up the foils on top and I just touched them up to make sure they don't go dry. And after another 20 minutes, we removed and did toning. Now, the toners on the roots area, so that lovely, I'll take this off the stand, it's easier to show you. So on the very roots, we did 20 grams of 7.1, 10 grams of 7.23, with half a gram of 622, 1 to 1.5, 10 volt. And as a tone on the ends, this beautiful, gorgeous blonde here was 20 grams of Clear Plus, 10 grams 1028, 10 grams 92, and 10 grams 91, with 75 grams, sorry, of 10 volt as well. Then we washed and did, take a rest back here again, darling, there you go. We washed with Iconic Tonic shampoo and treated with break in case of emergency. So this is what we used at the basin, and that is highly recommended always to use after a Deco Plex service, to completely restore the hair with essential proteins and moisturizing as well. For blow drying, we smoothed out the hair first with Abracadabra, where we did the blow dry around the brush from wet to dry. We then finished off just by final touch with the flat iron and did HPF 230 plus to protect the new color and also the hair. And then to finish off the complete service, we used Shine Sealed and Delivered, just 1 drop to help remove flyaways and just give that nice finished look. So she's ready for the catwalk. The hair feels amazing, even though it's mannequin hair. We got nice and light as we wanted to the very ends. So we got a progression from that level 7 to level 9 mid and level 10 at the very ends. Fantastic result all the way through. You can see the lightness in those ends there. We'll bring her up so she doesn't faint on us. That nice, strong money piece in the front area. And a nice, wild, beautiful, editorial finish for Amy. So I hope you enjoy Deco Plex. I hope this gives you the confidence to go out there and try it. It is an amazing product, keeps the hair nice and strong, and this is mannequin hair we're talking here, you know, so fantastic addition, great product, and I look forward to bringing you more creative ideas with Deco Plex. So Amy stands aside a little bit at the moment, and I wish you all a great time. And yeah, see you next session. Take care. And always say, be fabulous, be great, be creative. All the best. Cheers.